everybody. So today we are going to learn Deep Water by William Orville Douglas. William Douglas was born in 1898. He was an American jurist and politician who served as an Associate Justice in the Supreme Court of the United States. Later, he was appointed by Franklin D. Roosevelt as the youngest justice. He was also a vigorous and a controversial writer. The story that I'm going to tell you today has been taken from the author's autobiography called Of Men and Mountains. In this piece, he tells us about his fear of water and how he conquered it with strong willpower, courage, and determination. So now let's get into the story. In the story, he tells us that when he was 3 or 4 years old, he had gone to California with his father. One day on the beach, the waves knocked him down and swept him over. He was completely submerged in water. It was such a terrifying experience for him, and this horrible experience bred a permanent fear of water in his subconscious mind. But a few years later, he again got eager to learn how to swim. He decided to go to YMCA swimming pool in Yakima as he felt that the swimming pool there would be safe. So he went there for 2 or 3 days and became a little comfortable with the water there. But one day, while he was waiting for the other boys to arrive, a big boy of about 18 years of age, who seemed like a bully, came to him, picked him up, and threw him in the deep end of the swimming pool. He was terribly frightened. He went down 9 feet into the water. He panicked. He tried to save himself by moving his arms and his legs, but he kept on drowning. When he reached the bottom, he tried to jump upwards with all his strength. He came up, but very slowly. He tried to catch hold of something like a rope, but he could not. He even tried to shout, but no sound came out. He kept on drowning. His lungs started aching, his head started throbbing, and he started getting dizzy. Suddenly, all his limbs were paralyzed. It was not moving at all. Only the movement of his heart told him that he was still alive. Again, he tried to jump up, but this time his limbs would not move. He looked for ropes, ladders, water wings, but it was all in vain. So at last, he gives up. He stops trying to save himself. He stops moving. But oddly enough, this time he feels at peace. He feels peaceful and calm because he was moving towards a peaceful death. He was slowly becoming unconscious. When he came to consciousness, he found himself lying on the side of the pool with the other boys nearby. The terror that he had experienced that day in the pool, it never left him. It always haunted him. It haunted him for years and years to come. It also spoilt many of his expedition of canoeing, swimming, fishing, all these activities that he loved doing. But because of his fear, it always kept him away from doing so. So he was determined. He was determined to conquer his fear. So finally, in the month of October, he decided that he would learn swimming from a professional. So he hired a swimming instructor. The instructor taught him various actions step by step. He also put a belt around William's waist, and the belt was attached to a thick rope. Whenever the instructor loosened the rope, he would go into the water and the fear would return. It took William 3 months to get comfortable in the water. As soon as he was comfortable, the instructor then started teaching him how to breathe underwater. He started teaching him how to exhale underwater and inhale rising above the water. He practiced it for several weeks. Then he was taught how to paddle with his legs on the side of the pool for a few weeks. At last, the instructor combined all these actions and made William swim. By April, the author learned swimming, but his terror continued. Whenever he used to swim alone in the pool, the old terror would return, but now he could face his terror with confidence. This went on till July, but he was still not satisfied, so he went to different locations, different lakes to swim. His terror only returned when he was in the middle of the lake. But then he used to ask himself what it can do to him, and he kept on pushing himself and kept on swimming. The terror automatically used to go away. So he deliberately went to various places like the warm lake to check if there is some amount of fear left in him. So finally, he conquered his fear. He was liberated from his fear. By now, there was one thing that he had realized. That is, in death, there is peace, and fear of death is fearful. That means death itself is not scary. Death itself is peaceful, because this he had experienced it when he was pushed in the swimming pool when he was young. Because then he did not have to put any effort and he felt peaceful then. So he says that death itself is not scary but peaceful. But fear of dying is what scares people. So as soon as we let go of this fear and we try to conquer this fear, we will be liberated. So this is how he ends the story, and with a very positive note. And he also collects the words spoken by Franklin D. Roosevelt, who says the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So this is how he ends the story with a very positive note. Says to overcome fear will be our greatest victory. So thank you very much. I hope you understood the story and enjoyed the video. Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day.